Yo, what's up, buddy? It's your boy Sin. We are back with EBA Week 1 against Zachmander. This week is unfortunately going to be a post-com, as I got a new mic after we played and before the upload, so I decided a post-com with way better audio quality would be better than a real-time commentary with bad mic quality. So I'm going to do my best to try and talk through what I was thinking each turn and really just mainly my thought process through it. The rest of the week should hopefully be real time com, so we won't have to worry about any more post coms for the season. Hope ideally. But yeah, after that out the way, we'll get into it. So when we connected and revealed this six, I was always sticking to the plan of mence, as we saw Palafin, which was the intended target of the mence lead, if you will, as we are banded Tera flying Tera Blast, and we can Oko the Palafin turn one. The only thing that would stop the lead, mence would have been if we didn't see Palafin, or if we had saw like a Tera Electric Urshifu that could threaten our mence. Those were the only two situations. Everything else we were leading mence. Now our mence lead into a Palafin. Our click is always just to do the Tera flying Tera Blast. We will Oko a speedy Palafin all the time. We get a chance to Oko the a max HP set. So he stays in here, and then our Tera Blast comes out, and we're able to pick up the KO turn one, which was a huge thing for me. That was the main plan, and I was really excited that it went our way. That's just a big thing of momentum to the game to get rid of a Mon turn one, especially a Mon as big as Palafin. So with Palafin out of the way, that opens up our Skunk Tank, meaning we could use our Skunk Tank for Urshi if needed, use it for Rayquaza, for Scizor, use it as a sack, whatever. Skunk Tank no longer has the set roll. We do not need to leave Skunk Tank in the back for Banded Palafin. So Screamtail comes out here. This is one of the two things I could swap in, Scarf Ray or this. Now we never KO'd a defensive Scream, and then a fast Scream always T-waved us. So instead of going for it and hoping he was like a spit F Scream or something like that, we decided to switch out into our Quack here, as the Quack was mainly brought for Glamora, stopping hazards from going up, and there being no Glim meant that our Quack didn't have to define a role at this point. So it was a free mon switch in. I didn't care about T-Wave, I didn't care about D-Gleam or Psychic, we always loved two of those. Now this turn I debated flip turn for a bit, as I didn't want to swap Urshi or Ray or something on a hard swap Encore. And then I realized the upside to Encore is a lot higher than the downside to Encore compared to the upside of flip turn versus the downside of flip turn. Flip turn was a big upside if he swapped out to Urshifu or Rayquaza there, but if he stayed in with Screamtail, it was super detrimental to us, as we would have taken that chip, and then we would have had to go into something and eat a T-Wave, or lose their Shadow Shield, and it just would not have been ideal. Whereas if we Encore on their Quasi Urshifu, we still have our dedicated mons for those two. So Encore the Psychic, and then I flip turn here, expecting the Urshi switch in. We do see the Urshi come out, and with him being Terra Dark, our play is always in the Garchomp. Garchomp's role this game was to come in on the Urshi, set up a layer of Stealth Rocks, hopefully a layer of Spikes too, if possible. We have Detail to phase him out. We will always live up +2. Terra Dark will blow if he's not Life Orb. So, if he's not adamant to, but if he was bringing SD7, it had to be Jolly, personally. So, my play here was always Stealth Rock, but I accidentally clicked EQ, as you can see. Now I'm not gonna lie or anything, but this EQ was 100% worked out better than a Stealth Rock click this turn would have. But Stealth Rock was not the intended click at all. Or no, Stealth Rock was the intended click, it wasn't EQ. I always wanted to get Stealth Rock up as finding if there was boots, or if it wasn't boots was big. As boots were closet meant he's DD, in my opinion, in the matchup, and then non-boots, he was going to be Special Scarf. And there wasn't really in between. It was one of the two sets. Now we get this issue super low, so him being in range of helmet Ruskin meant if he attacks us, he kills himself. Um, and then if we rock here, he switches out, he kills himself. So at this turn, I essentially got to kill an Urshifu, putting us up real big with Urshifu and Halfin out of the way. So I get my rocks up. He's gonna save his Urshifu, but our Garchomp did his job. Urshifu is now dead. The only way he would live is if we saw a defog from Scizor come out, but you don't expect Scizor to carry defog too much anyway, especially in this matchup. Now, when Screamtail came out here, I was expecting it like an Ice Beam or something. We always loved the D-Gleam. Ice Beam would kill us, but I just didn't want to play passive, and I didn't want to let him get his rocks up, as the rocks really sucked for us. So he's gonna take out his Garchomp there with Screamtail. Now, this play was a tough one. I wanted to go Skunk as Skunk didn't have a role, but Skunk was way too passive, so I decided Lunala to stay on the offensive and stop rocks from going up. Now, I never KO'd with a Moongeist if he was like max HP, so wasn't the greatest position I was in. But Screamtail was like a weird mon for me to beat. Um, It wasn't necessarily good into my team, but it had enough, especially with what I brought. Like Croak being eject button, I can stay in with it. Mence can get D-waved. Quack at that point was too low to do anything. Quack was just a sack. Skunk was too passive of a play, so I only really had Lunala. Um, Although I was fine with Lunala getting T-waved at this point in the game. Lunala was a late game um, mon to stop a DD Ray from sweeping me. He had to be like +3 or so, I don't know. He had to be very, very boosted to KO him with the Dragon Ascent from full since I had boots. And then when the Urshifu revealed Scarf, I kind of rolled DD Ray out of the picture. Um, wasn't the greatest rule out, but I don't think Scarf Urshi was the mon you wanted to have with Scarf Ray. I think you wanted a more breaker Urshi. If that makes any sense at all. But I just feel like with Garchomp, Quack, Crook, and Skunk, Scarf Urshi just wouldn't break enough for a DD Mence to bring home the game, or a DD Rayquaza. Um, but it would definitely open up enough holes for like Specs or Banded or Scarf, whatever. I expect it more of a choice for Quaza. Now we're gonna take a chip on Scizor. Now let's play here. There's kind of like a miscalc. Um, I just forgot about Shadow Shield, so I just took my item away in the calc, and I was like, oh, I always love this. So I stayed in, and let Lunala go down. I think my play here would have been to go Skunk Tank if I had have got that right. Throw a Shadow Shield. Now this play here was my big waffle of the game. The play here is 1000% Skunk. It is always Skunk. It will forever be Skunk. But I went under Mence. Now the reasoning behind my Mence swap is I didn't want to give up pressure. I didn't want to go Skunk and be too defensive because I didn't want to let Screamtail get in, and I didn't want to let those hazards go up. Now, was that necessarily the right play to go into Skunk? Who knows? Um, he ended up being Pad's Scizor, but even if he wasn't, a knockoff would have killed. And then Screamtail would have taken a decent chunk from knockoff. Ursaluna would have taken a decent chunk. Ray would have lost his item and would have taken Rock Chip. So there were a bunch of plus sides to going Skunk, but there were also like the downsides of Scream comes in and then sets its rocks up, and then Mence is on a timer. Um, and then playing into a Scarf Rayquaza endgame, which was the most expected set, was not good having Mence having limited swaps. As my counterplay around a Scarf like Draco, Rayquaza, and Mox was sack something and then bring Mence in. As Mence could then lure Draco, so I could get a kill. And then he would sack something, and then Ray would come in, and I'd sack something. So I tried to play it to an endgame where my Mence could live a um -2 Draco, but I'm still not too sure if taking this ship here was the play or not. Um, I realistically I could see either being a good play looking back at it in the moment after. I was like that was a horrible play, but in retrospect, might have been it may have been the best play. It may not have been. Um, I've done my analysis for the game, and this is like the play. I still don't know. There's this lane one other where I'm not sure if this was the right play or not. Um, I'm really not sure what the right play was. So I should go Mentir. I click Tera Blast. He's gonna Bullet Punch me. He's gonna do a lot. I confirm not Bandit against Lunala. So I knew he's gonna be able to switch. And I kind of just made a kind of like a lapse in judgment, I guess you could say. We pick up the KO there, and then Rayquaza comes out, and now it's just Scream Scarf to me. Now in the moment, I was like, this could be DD. He could be bluffing Scarf, and he could DD on my swap, and then I lose. But I saw my Intim Crook. I have Skunk Tank who can take a hit. I still have the tools to beat a DD Ray. If he Scarf and I lose my Mence, I just flat out lose instantly. So I went to my Crook. I followed the plan. Um, And then when Crook comes out, we are going to see the Rayquaza drop a Draco here. Now, I forget if this damage confirmed modest or not. I end up forgetting in the battle anyway. Um, but then here, my play is always in the Mence. I'm calculating to see the damage. Um, I forget if it was a high roll timid or like a low roll modest or something. Um, but play what is just always in the Mence after this, as we're in the position as we were in the Mox. Mence is coming out, he's getting a kill. Ray's coming in, getting a kill. Mence is coming out over and over again. It's a cycle. It's just repeating constantly. Um, now, I don't know why I was debating Quack for a little bit. I honestly could not tell you, but I do go in the Mence, and then Mence is clicking Tera Blast, and we're at a point where Quaza dies, Screamtail dies, and Ursaluna gets 2 code. Now, the thing that was really scaring me is I didn't have great options to break the Ursaluna left. So I really needed to keep this Mence to kill the Ursaluna. And my real worry was that he would Rayquaza would kill like Quack or something, and then Mence would kill Ray, but then Ursaluna would come out and Ursaluna would be able to clean. So that I was trying to play like around just losing to Ursaluna in this endgame. Um, Now Rayquaza comes out. There's obviously Sheriff. We're sacking something here. So this is exactly how like a lot of the endgame mocks were going. It was just sack, 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 over and over again. Um, Now I'm checking -2 damage into me, and I'm checking other moves into me at this point. Um, so I decided to sack my Quack here as it was a lot less useful than the Mence at this point. So Draco comes out, picks up the kill. But I was calculating to see if he had a different move like D-Pulse, how spammable it wasn't to me. How much he won if he had it, whatever. Now this play coming up is another play that I'm not too sure if it was the right play or not after. So here I do decide to go out into my crook. So my thinking on this turn was, if he's modest Rayquaza and he gets a high roll on the Jacob, not even a max roll, high roll, it was like top 5 or up, something like that. I am in range of Ursaluna Vacuum Wave. And if you look at my team, if Ursaluna kills Mence, I lose. I get Vacuum Waved on Crook, Skunk Tank gets Earth Powered, or Blood Moon, whatever he wants to click. I don't OHKO anyway. So if I go Crook, I force him to Draco me and knock himself down to -4, now putting me out of range for Draco and the viewer to kill. And then also threatening him, because if he swaps out to Ursaluna, rocks plus knock, put him in range of Mence Tera Blast. And then at that point I have Mence and Skunk, and I can beat the Ray after another round of rock shit. So I go Crook here. If I click it ever, this is where I was checking to make sure on the calcs, I believe. Yeah, so Crook comes out. We're just gonna click knockoff here. I was debating Roar as a click for a decent while, but adding knock was just better. And then we see Ray pick up the kill. Ray is now -4. And then we're gonna get to go out into our mens. And we're gonna kill something. Ursaluna's a Tuco. If he hard swaps in, if he saves Ray, Ray dies. If he just adds a Draco me. And it's looking like I'm in the driver's seat. Looks like I have the end game. Mence is picking up a KO, and then if it's a KO on Ray, he's doing a lot to Ursaluna. And if it's KO on Ursaluna, Ray's gonna be at like 25% after another round of rocks. And then Skunk Tank should be able to 1v1 from there. But it is still a losable endgame. Crits can come into play. But we're gonna see an Ursaluna sack. Now, I didn't realize how much a +1 Tera Blast did originally when I looked at it. So I thought this was like kind of a misplay. I thought his play was to sack Ray for the chip and then go Luna. But I think this did end up being his only play to win with a Ray endgame. Now, looking at the calcs with Scarf Ray into me, if he was modest with Hurricane and he hit 2, he almost always won. If he had if he crits Skunk Tank with a Draco, he auto wins. If he's timid, Hurricane, he hits both. He has a 6% chance to win. So my play here was always sack Mence, go Skunk, hope Sucker kills. If it doesn't, hope I don't die. That was my play here. So he's gonna pick up the kill on the Mence. Now we're gonna be into 1v1. -2 special attack. The only way Skunk Tank dies is if it's a crit. And at this point, we did finally confirm the Scarf. Would have been insane bluff by him if he wasn't Scarf. But we're going to see Skunk Tank come out. Ray's going to be at 25%. We're going to see a Sucker Punch come out from the Skunk Tank. We're going to pick up the kill to get a nice 1-0 win against Zachmander week 1. Feels nice winning week 1 after losing week 1 last season. Pretty commanding win. I know it was only 1-0, but I do feel like it was a good game played by both teams. I feel like we were on the driver's seat for most of the game, ended up being a 1-0. Just as matchups too, he had some good pieces into me, and Scarf Ray was one of those pieces where I couldn't really throw my best at it. I had to let him throw his best at me and then come in after. But I feel like it was a pretty strong game played. I did like the Crook play in the end, even though it potentially lost me diff. It did cover a play. But I'm still not sure if it was the actual correct play. I'm still not sure if shotgun Lunala was the correct play. I'm not sure if taking the BP on Mence was the correct play. But I think besides those three plays, we made the one of the most optimal plays every turn, or at least intended to, with the shot misclick. But that is gonna be for me today. I will see you all next Saturday for the week 2 team builder. We are playing Mr. Gabe week 2. But yeah, that is gonna be it for me today. I will see you all next time. Peace.